Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. One day I heard a quote saying that change is the end result of all true learning by Leo Buscaglia. But is change really the end of everything? No, change is not the end. It's the ability of mankind to adapt, innovate, and overcome the obstacle that it's facing. On the 1st December 2019, a brand new page carved in the history of mankind, becoming the turning point of our lives. Since that day, the world is on the brink of the COVID-19 pandemic and had pushed our way of life into a new chapter. During this pandemic, our lifestyle changed a lot and keeps innovating in a lot of aspects. One of the many sectors adapting with these changes is education. It lies on its methodology on how educations could be carried out from conventional into a digitalized one, meaning that education relies so much on the usage of technology as its main platform and supporting basis. It's also believed that the methods of future educations wouldn't be the same as it was before. One of these changes is poured on the UNESCO Education's 2030 Plan, held also known as the Incheon Declaration, held in Incheon on 19 until 25th May 2015, discussing about the future of education for the upcoming 15 years. It is stated that the United Nations, through UNICEF and UNESCO, is committing a renewed agenda that is holistic, ambitious, and aspirational to ensure inclusive and equitable education and promote a lifelong learning opportunities for all. Another statement made by OECD stated that the future of education would no longer be about the physical interaction and classroom only, but it's a combination of environmental-based learning, character building, and digital learning. Further, according to a research conducted by Harvard University, there are two indicators that might be a vision of what education in the future would possibly look like, to be specific, in the post-pandemic era. The first indicator is about the importance of a teacher's role. As we all know, in this pandemic era, the methods of education has changed from conventional into a digitalized one. Back then, subjects were taught with the presence of teachers in a classroom from whom the students could assess their knowledge from. But it hardly happens amid the pandemic, and a new trend could be created post the pandemic where students and teachers have gotten used to assessing knowledge via alternative sources such as the internet. Since this magnificent movement offers unlimited access to knowledge and informations, this current situation may lead us to believe that the best possible alternative to communicate and study is by online learning and the internet itself. But, however, ladies and gentlemen, do you believe that learning process only involves transferring knowledge to one another? If yes, take a closer look at the research conducted by Harvard University. It is stated that the learning process goes beyond than just processing knowledge to one another, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it's one of the classroom goals. But this important achievement could hardly succeed without the connections built between students and teacher. Yes, the connection. It may sound cliche, but this is what several studies, including Harvard University, have figured out, that the role of teachers in a physical classroom is irreplaceable, as they're the ones who form and maintain the communications between students and teacher that machine doesn't have the ability for. And this relation functions as the heart of education. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the heart of education. If the human body loses its heart, would the human still be alive? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it becomes abundantly clear for us that the relation that functions as the heart of education and the roles of teacher can ever be replaced. Online learning may give its own benefits for any academic civitas, yet offline learning brings back the nature of educations that we're now missing. Hence, I believe that by integrating these two kinds of models, we would possibly generate a quantum leap to achieve a greater success and a greater education access in the upcoming years, to be specific, in the post-pandemic era. The second indicator, ladies and gentlemen, is about tech usage. We feel certain that back in the days during offline learning, the usage of technology has started to become a part of our educational tools. Both teachers and students have got used to take advantage of it for the sake of accessing knowledge. Furthermore, the current situation, placing students at home, drives various kinds of technologies to be utilized even further. And this relation with technology between educators and students, not only to get to know on how to operate various kinds of device, but also on how to achieve their purpose and interest in education by bestowing such tools. During the times of offline learning, students were able to interact straightly with their environment and educators, from which they could exchange the ideas, practices, and even accessing knowledge. Surprisingly, online learning, by the usage of advanced technologies, could provide a broader learning environment for students and teachers, as they're able to go beyond and they could engage in global scale projects involving students and educators worldwide. For instance, a platform under the supervision of UNESCO named Generation Global allows the student to interact and discuss intensively about certain topics that happens around the globe. Another one is called iEarn, enabling schools around the globe to cooperatively work for chosen projects. Offline learning, where physical classroom takes place, granted both teachers and students to be accustomed using technological tools. And online learning strengthened this by bringing everyone in the world together to connect, share ideas, and even find solutions to the challenges that we're now facing. Ladies and gentlemen, from the point that I've mentioned before, we can conclude that the methodology for future educations might continue to change and adapt over time to tackle obstacles of the future. But I believe that the values of education will remain the same and essential for years to come. It's not only about educators transferring their knowledge to students, but also about the social development, the interaction, and the connection. These values must always remain the same as the heart of education for generations to come. And it's also one of the ways to ensure a better future for us all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the time.